Hello? Okay, so we have director Tommy Nickoloff here. Last time we had a really short time and didn't really get to do any audience questions, so I just want to start with that. If anyone has questions for Tommy here.
I guess I shouldn't say it.
Right there?
What you shoot it on? What made you have the ball to say the first one you're gonna make is gonna be a feature? What's with the next?
Shot it on Black Magic 4K. I don't know a fucking thing about cameras. Thank God for my cousin Christy Walker, director of photography. It was her idea. Without her being the one to have the idea, there's no way this could have happened. Second question, the mask. That's just Will.
Okay.
He just doesn't. I could explain it, but he'd probably kill me. Was there a third? Love you too.
Your first film, you made a feature.
I don't know, man. It just happened, you know. And Jason was always the voice encouraging me to make art, and I just wasn't listening until he died. And then, fuck, I didn't want to cry again today, but you never know. And then when that voice was gone physically, it was a major realization that, like, it's up to me, it's up to you, it's up to you. Nobody's gonna do it for you. And I suffered depression and anxiety since the age of 7. And Jason's death really shocked me into being like, dude, you got to start getting your shit together here, right? If it can happen to him, it can happen to you. And I started getting better, but I didn't have that voice. And after we started planning our family reunion, I got 2 cousins here from Columbus that were there. Christy gave me that phone call, and then that was just enough to echo Jason, and we started immediately. And to be honest, I just haven't really thought about it. It just keep going, and we made it. Okay, so I want to share a little bit of a confession. I think it was Alfred Hitchcock that said, the length of a film should be directly proportional to the capacity of the human bladder. And I had to get up to pee this time, but I'm gonna tell you why. Did anybody notice the author's name of the Choose Your Own Adventure books? I.P. Freely. Okay, so there are Easter eggs throughout this thing. There's so many things, but I'm gonna give you one of them. So Tycho Brahe, well, first of all, apparently Jason was a real pain in the ass. Am I holding these too close?
I think it's Jason.
You have this guy. Yeah.
There you go.
So apparently it was really difficult to tour with Jason because he had to stop to go to the bathroom all the time. And is this even on right now?
Yeah.
So his explanation for that, his justification for that was Tycho Brahe. So one of the Choose Your Own Adventure books is Tycho Brahe's #1. He was a 15th century Dutch astronomer who was at a really long dinner, and to be polite, he didn't get up to pee. And his bladder burst, and he died on the spot. So, these guys would be driving across the Midwest, he's like, guys, take the things, and I gotta pee, and they're like, Jason, Tycho Brahe, dude. I'm pulling a Tycho Brahe out of the store, we gotta stop and pee. So, that's that. Happy to take any questions, if you have any. Thanks for sticking around, please.
Do you remember the first note you heard Jason play musically?
I mean, it's definitely Spineriders, and I'm super pleased to tell you that. So, my cousin Brian
Where were you, I guess?
Probably in the auditorium at Hamilton High School. Yeah, and we did an interview that didn't make the film with the Spineriders, and I think that will be another project. I hope so. Just more like late '80s, early '90s, and their influence on other people. So Brian moderated that interview, And the Spineriders hadn't been together since 2014 when they put out Hello Future Tinglies as a tribute to Jay. And they hadn't seen each other since that recording until they got together in the room with me and Brian and Christy. And they got back together.
Yeah.
So they played last night at 5 o'clock. So if you're looking for an inspiration and you know anything about Jay or you got enough out of him today, I think he said it once, listen, let's still talk to you, man.
Okay.
I can tell you that. Happy to take anything else?
Yeah.
Please.
What about Lorain, man? I think obviously it's a loaded question for you, but you know, I think a lot of common ground shared between me and you and those folks in the film and Jen. I'm just curious, as a character in the film, maybe not to get too meta on a Saturday night, but maybe a character in our lives, cousin.
Yeah.
What's Lorain's impact on that film?
Oh,
How did you figure
tremendous.
out how to capture it in
I
that?
don't know, dude. I mean, it's like, you know, people ask me often, like, do you think Jason could have done what he did if he were from anywhere else? And it's like, maybe, but not the way he did it, right? And that's not unique to him, and that's not unique to me, and that's not unique to you. I think that how can where you're from not be, you know, your family's there, your young school is there, like we were talking yesterday, like early education is just mimicking what's around you. That's all it is. You're not reading books, right? You're picking up on your dad's hand gestures. Or you're learning to laugh like an uncle. Like all those things happen where you're from. And if anything came out of growing up in Lorain, like it's a work ethic.
Yeah.
And everyone that knew Jay made music with Jay has told me, like, dude was relentless.
Yeah.
You know? Like, stop was not an option on the table. It was only keep going. And if that didn't work, then you try and try and try. And you just keep plugging at it. And, you know, he did that until he didn't anymore, but at the same time, like, I'm telling you, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really exciting to see I think Jeff Tweedy just did a cover live, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then big people like MJ Lenderman, who's younger, coming up. Lex Hatchie, she's coming up.
Yeah, I think
they're
Jay
touring
is
right
more
now.
famous
They're
under 30
playing.
now than
They're
he
playing
did
Jason
when they were
Molina
under
songs.
30.
I mean, this is really like happening. Like,
It's
so-
I mean, I could not be luckier for talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, please.
I think it was Aaron who talked about Glen Hansard and that relationship and
Yeah.
how he thought there
Yeah,
was really more there. Did you get more out of Aaron in that discussion, or
So-
like any
That's 15 interviews that averaged about 4 hours apiece, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at over 60 hours
Yeah.
into 91 or 92 minutes.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
for a small fee.
So I asked that because I you know I got to see Molina Johnson
Right.
at the Black Cat, and then 2 days later I saw Glen,
Yeah.
and I never draw signs up for a show, but I was on the rail, and I had a request for him to play Hold On Magnolia, and at one point Glen walked over and he saw the sign,
Yeah.
and his face, he nodded at me, he nodded, but in his eyes it was like 80 hours of interview material.
Yeah.
It was one of the craziest things. Like,
And that was where?
That was at the 930 Club in DC.
Okay. I don't know.
And you could just tell like there was so much in that look.
Yeah.
You know, when we saw Hold On Magnolia, and
Wow.
we just acknowledged it, didn't play it, and I think probably for a
Yeah,
number of
yeah.
reasons.
No, those guys were definitely tight. There's no question about it. And quickly back to the Lorain thing. Like, I went to see Glen last fall or fall before it, went by myself because I can't get anybody to do anything cool up there. But so, you know, I got this t-shirt from Dan McAdam, who played with Jason in Songs, Ohio. And so, you know, so I'm kind of walking around before the show, and I see another t-shirt, and it was Ashley, Jason's sister, and her husband. So I'm like, oh, come on, this, we're going backstage, and we're gonna talk to Glen, and he sent us tickets and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, like that love is continuing with his siblings and his nieces and all that. And I've had the pleasure of, I've exchanged a few emails for him, and I'm just waiting for that big Glen Hansard bomb to drop so I can get a little more than 2,000 Instagram followers. Glen, are you out there? Well, we'll see. But no, those guys really had a beautiful relationship.
Clearly, there's something there.
Starting with Glen finding the Black Album in a record store, loving it, and writing an email, just like Will, you know. But that, you know, that's kind of, you know, Jay is an authentic being, and he knew when somebody else was on that wavelength, and he wasn't gonna miss the opportunity to, like, you know, you take a candle and light another one, it doesn't make this candle half as bright, it makes it twice as bright, right? And you put two flames together, they don't diminish, they glow. And he instinctively, Jason had those instincts that, like, we can make each other better together somehow, right?
Yeah, it's a musical community.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'd like to sing a little song.
Thank you guys so much. We can clear out here for the next screening. So thanks to Tommy. And, keep on chatting down in the lobby.